Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're making a classic candy machine. Well, this is not a new project or a new idea by any means. I used to make them years ago and I really haven't done one in a long time, so it's kind of revisiting the project for me as well. This project is an easy one, a great one to get the kids involved with, and it all starts off with a little bit of 3/4 inch thick pine. Now this project will start off with 2 pieces of 3/4 inch thick pine, or whatever species you want to use, and they measure 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches square. One will be our base and one will be our top. So we're going to take our top piece, and the first thing I want to do is I want to mark the center. Now the main container that will hold the candy in our candy machine will be a mason jar. It can be whatever size mason jar you want. So the first thing you want to do is you want to measure the size of your lid. So its diameter across. And for this one here, this one is 2 13/16 of an inch across. So what we're going to do is right in the center of our top piece, we are going to draw that circle at 2 13/16 diameter. And now you just want to verify that measurement, and the easiest way to verify that it's right is by checking it against the actual lid. So that looks good at this point in time. I want to take this over to the drill press, and right in the middle, we're going to drill a 1-inch diameter through hole. Well, if you have a Forstner bit that is this exact diameter here, you can drill a 1/2 inch deep hole this diameter before drilling your 1-inch through hole. For me, I don't have a bit that size, so I have installed a straight bit in my trim router and let the bit protrude 1/2 an inch below our base plate here. And what I'm going to do is very carefully, I'm going to route all the way around the perimeter of our marked circle to get a 1/2 inch deep recess, the same size as our lid on our jar. And when you're done, you just want to check to make sure that your lid fits securely into your piece of wood. All right, so that's that done. And now we can move on to the next step. So the next piece we need will be our slide, and this will be the part that will deliver the candy to the chute. It is 3/4 of an inch thick, it is 1.5 inches wide and 5 inches long. And right in the middle of it, we need to drill a 1-inch through hole. So this piece here, for the most part, is done for now, and we can move on to some of the other cut pieces. What we will need to concentrate on next is our slide supports, and that will be 2 pieces of 3/4 inch thick pine. Once again, they are going to be 3¼ inches wide and 4 inches tall, but we need to cut a notch in each of these. And that notch will be centered here on the top end of both of our pieces. It will be 1.5 inches wide and 3/4 of an inch deep. And this notch now, we can carefully cut this out, whether you use a bandsaw, scroll saw, hand saws, whatever you like, and get this notch cut out. So now that you have those notches cut, you just want to ensure that your slide piece is going to fit in the notches and that it will slide smoothly back and forth in here. Make sure it fits nicely in both pieces. You can have a little bit of wiggle, a little bit of slop. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do need to make sure it's not tight and that it doesn't bind. So with that done now, you're going to need a couple of spacer blocks. Now these spacer blocks are just a couple pieces of 3/4 inch thick pine. They're 3¼ inches long and 1.5 inches wide. Eventually, they will get mounted right here to give us our kind of dispensing base. But For now that you have all those pieces cut, we can put those aside and we can work on getting our sides cut. Now these are the sides of the candy machine, and these are again 3/4 of an inch pine, and they are 4x4 square. You will need 2 of them. Well, with these 6 pieces cut, this is essentially the core of our candy machine. So what we can do is take our spacers, we will glue the spacers in against one of our slide support pieces. We will glue our front slide support, just like this, against that assembly. And then our 2 side pieces, our 4x4 squares, will get glued on the sides, just like this, flush with the back of our candy machine. So you can get that glued up, clamped up, sanded, and put it aside and let it dry. While we're waiting for that core assembly to dry, we can drill our mounting holes. They will be countersunk holes, and on the one side they will be 3/4 of an inch in from each end. We'll just place that mark there. And as well, from the back edge, we will place a mark at 1 1/8 and then at 4 1/8. And we will do this on both our top and our bottom piece. And we can drill and countersink for a number 8 screw. We will keep in mind that for our bottom, the holes will be on the underside, not on the top side. So with our core assembly now dried up, what we can do is mark for our mounting holes. And they will be along the edge, 3/8 of an inch in from either edge. So we'll come in 3/8 of an inch from the edge of each of our sides. And we know that these holes are 3 inches apart. These sides here are 4x4. So we can come in 1/2 an inch from either side and drill a pilot hole and then screw our base and our top onto our main assembly. I have also given the base a round over on both sides all the way around just to make it a little more decorative. You can do that if you want, but it's not necessary. So let's get the base and the top of our candy machine screwed together. And at this point, you just want to make sure that your slide still slides nicely and smoothly here through your slot in your candy machine. So the next thing that we need to do at this point is we need to make the candy chute. Well, in order to make the candy chute, I have a piece of 1/4 inch thick pine, and I have drawn out here a pattern, we'll call it, so that the top of our candy chute is 2.5 inches wide, and the bottom, where the candy will be taken, is 1 3/8 of an inch wide. And I'm just going to take this over to the scroll saw and carefully cut along those lines. I think I forgot to mention as well that this chute is 3 inches long. Well, I have some pieces of 1/4 inch thick pine. Again, they are 3.5 inches long, and they are 5/8 of an inch wide. And I'm just going to take those pieces, apply a little bit of glue to one edge, and we will glue them lined up with our front edge here, just like that, on either side of our candy chute. And from there we will clean up our squeeze out and give that time to cure. And while we're waiting for the chute sides to dry up, we can add the hardware or the pull for our candy dispenser. Now, you can use metal hardware if you have it. You can even put a screw there if you want, but I find one of the easiest and cheapest ways to go here is just one of these little wooden buttons. It's a wooden button plug, and this one here is 3/8 of an inch in diameter, and it fits perfectly there and works very well as the kind of drawer pull for the candy dispenser. So just glue it on there, centered on the end of your slide. Clean up your squeeze out and let that cure. Once the glue on your chute is dry, you can sand your edges flush with your base, and then we're going to head over to the belt sander. Now the object over here is to shape the front so that we have a nice curve here and a curve here, but as well we need an angle here for this to be tilted down. So we're going to start off with the front end. We're going to sand it up the way that we like it, and I'll show you the profiles I end up with when I'm done. And this is kind of the profile you're after. We've got that front slope here. We have a curve, kind of a slope here, and we have this angle right here. And what we need to do now is apply some glue, and we will glue our chute in place so that it is centered on our notch here, and that the very top of the chute is level, or maybe even just a 1/16 of an inch below our slot for our slider. So I'm going to get that glued in place, we'll let it dry, and then I'll show you what we ended up with. And with our chute dried up, you end up with something like this. And what you need to do now is take your slider and slide it inside here into the slot that you made for it. Now, it's basically as simple as filling your jar with candy. Now, I don't have any candy in my shop. My granddaughter would be horrified. I should have my grandpa card taken away. Anyway, you take out your sealing ring out of the lid and put the lid back on. Just like this. You can then tilt your candy machine, placing your lid inside, just like that. And now anytime you want a candy, you pull the drawer out, and there you go. I don't know if you can see that, one popped right out. And then you push the drawer back in, it reloads, and you pull the drawer out, and there goes another candy. Now, it works better with smaller candies, things like M&Ms or that sort of thing. It doesn't work very well with marbles. So, but you get the idea. Either way, it's a fun project, guys, and it's a great one to get the kids involved, and they get a reward of a candy afterwards. So, what the heck, give it a whirl. And there you have it. A classic candy dispenser. Guys, this project is absolutely dead simple. They are so easy to make, and it really lends itself to scrap stock and being able to use up the scrap in your stock to make them. Now, this is definitely, I've said it a couple times in the show, this is one to get the kids involved with. The pieces are so simple, and the gluing methods and the assembly methods are so simple that there is no reason that a child couldn't come out and help you make these. The only thing I'll be a little weary of is the sanding of the candy chute. That you might want a little more supervision, or the grown-up may want to do that shaping, just in case. But other than that, this project is like, it screams for a child project. It screams to have the pieces pre-made and have it as a kit for the child to glue together and make themselves. Guys, this is not a new project. It is not a new concept. These have been around for a very long time, and I've been making them for years and years and years. I'm sure that if you search YouTube or if you Google it, you will find like 150 guys that make variations of this candy dispenser. They're all different in their own little ways, but they're all the same concept for the most part. And no matter how you look at it, there's still a great way to get the kids involved in woodworking. Just a wonderful project, guys, and I hope you're going to give this one a shot. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in this week. This one's been a lot of fun. I haven't made one of these candy dispensers in, it's got to be 15 years. I still have some of the original ones that I made, and they're still holding up true today, and they still look as good as they did years ago. Now, the thing with the jar, you want to make sure, I know that I gave you a very specific measurement of the jar, but measure the jar that you're going to use and make sure that the hole that you're routing is going to fit the jar that you're going to be using. That is, key to making this project work. As well, guys, if you are interested, drop by my website. Go to acutabovewoodworkings.com. Click on the free pattern section, and in that section you will find a dimension drawing for making this candy dispenser. Right there you'll find the photo of the finished product as well as today's show, the tutorial video to build the project. So if you're interested in it and you want the hard copy to say this is how I make it, hit the website, guys. It's free for the taking. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. You click that bell and then you won't miss the notifications of the future episodes of the program. We have a heck of a lot of fun here every Tuesday and Friday, and I hope you're going to consider becoming a part of that. I hope you've enjoyed today's program, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the project. I want to thank you for tuning in, and more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another woodworking video. I gotta go buy some candy. Wonder if you can dispense licorice with this thing.